dream of a better life is through higher education. Unfortunately, only 20 to 30% of Filipino college students finish their degrees due to some personal dilemmas. But recent developments in technology help make the future brighter for the next generation of students. Thanks to AMA Online Education. Sharing with us how anyone can now level up their lives is the Sales and Marketing Head of AMA-OEd, Micah Kalingo. Thank you so much, Micah, for bringing me here to your office. Why has AMA decided to venture into online education?
We actually considered the factors which could be hindering students to, finish their studies. Why not create something that could reach everyone? It's supposed to be an education for all, limitless and borderless. They can study anytime, anywhere. It's cost efficient, and they'd be able to manage their personal affairs while continuing with their studies, and we have competitive tuition fee.
It seems online education is also being offered by other open university systems. Now, what sets AMA-OEd apart from other open university systems?
For AMA-OEd, it is the first and the only full online education.
So you don't actually have to be here in the Philippines or in Manila. You can be in another country and finish your course.
Exactly. It's 100% hassle-free experience from admission to graduation.
I can do everything online.
You'd be quite amazed of how technology these days are happening, and will be very surprised on how creative AMA online education is able to put these things up together and create something that's helpful, not just for the students or the peer students from bachelor's, but also for masteral and doctorate.
AMA-OEd definitely aims to be everyone's partner in achieving any dream. Even professionals can now refresh or enhance their skills with MyCPD online. College students lacking some units can now make the most of AMA-OEd's cross-enroll program. With all these, it's no wonder why AMA-OEd became a popular choice for Filipinos for the past 4 years.
AMA online education is accredited as the first full online education by CHED. We have also been accredited by ICDE, or International Council for Distance Education. And just recently, AMA University has been granted autonomous status by CHED.
That's really impressive. Now, just wondering, how many students have graduated from AMA-OEd?
In the past 4 years, it's going to be more than 300. And at the moment, as per the number of enrollees, we have more than 150,000.
Wow. I cannot imagine 150,000 students simultaneously studying in AMA-OEd, but you make it happen. With 150,000 enrollees, AMA-OEd obviously considered how to make their program safe and suitable for anyone wanting any form of higher education. So with me now is the Content Development Head of AMA-OEd. Hi, Leo.
Hi, Kelly.
Thank you so much for your time. Now, can we talk about the courses? AMA is really known for the more technical side,
Yes,
computers,
exactly,
IT. It's great that you're becoming more known in other courses as well.
So come in, let's go, and let's check the classroom of College of Commonwealth Education. This classroom is in accordance with the CMO, or the Child Memorandum Number. So here, you have the writings, and you have here ventilation. You also have our inverter aircon here. Then, in case of emergency, we have here our exit. Here is our exit. And we also have this fire extinguisher in case of emergency. So these are some of the classrooms. And also here.
Grammarly does more than catch errors. With Grammarly, you can find really good, no, perfect words that make your writing sharp, or explicit, or excellent, or distinctive. As a matter of fact, for what it's worth, Grammarly can, yeah, that's long. We can get rid of that, and this, good, and this, or how about this? Grammarly helps you be concise. If your tone might make someone feel like this, Grammarly can remind you. It would help if you soften your tone. And if you need the support, Grammarly encourages you to write confidently. Because the better we all communicate, the better we connect. Grammarly, helping you connect. Go to Grammarly.com and download today.
For just $67, you can make as many videos as you want, and you never need to pick up a camera or use any fancy editing software. With Doodly, you drag, you drop, you tweak some settings, and boom, video done. It'll take you just a few minutes. So, let's hear from the Doodly creator, Brad, to see why Doodly is so easy to use and why you should grab this offer right now.
Hi, I'm Brad Callen, and in this video, I'm going to show you how anyone can quickly and easily create doodle videos, just like the one you're watching right now, using Doodly, our drag-and-drop doodle software that allows anyone, regardless of tech skills, to create highly engaging professional doodle videos in a matter of minutes. Because doodle videos are fun and engaging, they can get you more clicks, likes, shares, and most importantly, sales than any other type of video. Which is why Doodly is now the video tool of choice for over 150,000 businesses all over the world, in virtually every industry and profession that you can imagine. Doodle videos are perfect for marketing, teaching, fundraising, personal use, and even inspiring others. After all, one of the keys to a successful video is to capture your audience's attention and keep it for an extended period of time. And since you're still watching this video, you already know how great doodle videos are at doing just that. Not only are doodle videos incredibly captivating, but research shows that they massively boost learning and memory retention. As a result, viewers really absorb your message, making your videos that much more impactful. And even better, doodle videos can make complex or boring subjects fun and easy to understand. So let me quickly show you how simple and easy Doodly makes it to create an interesting professional video. Alright, here I am inside the Doodly software, which is available for Mac and PC. You'll notice that you can choose the style of your video, selecting from whiteboard, blackboard, greenboard, glassboard, and for more advanced users, you can even use a green screen background, giving you lots of control over the video style. In this example, let's create a nice looking whiteboard doodle video. You'll notice that Doodly makes it super easy to create your own doodle videos with done-for-you scenes, hundreds of characters, a huge selection of props and images, royalty-free music, and even text. And for the ultimate in customization, you can even upload your own images, fonts, props, and music. Now to create a doodle video, it's really simple. First, I'll add a headline to get people's attention, then center it before adding a character. I like this one. And while I'm at it, I'm going to go ahead and add a prop too. I'll resize everything and voila, we have Steve reading a book on his chair. For the next slide, I'm going to do something a little different. Instead of adding a character or prop, I'm going to use one of Doodly's super convenient done-for-you scenes. So I'm going to simply drag and drop the scene I want right into my video. As you can see, Doodly is so easy to use that anyone can make doodle videos, even if they have zero tech or design skills. If you can click or drag your mouse, you can create a professional doodle video in a matter of minutes. Not only is creating a doodle video that simple, but we also have a bunch of really cool settings available too. Doodly allows you to customize your video with real hands, cartoon hands, or none at all, seeing transitions with even camera panning, and our smart erase mode to provide the realistic feel that you're looking for. And with just a couple of mouse clicks, you can also easily switch between different doodle video types at any moment. I'll change the doodle video I just created from whiteboard to blackboard in less than 5 seconds. Plus, you can even record a voiceover directly inside Doodly or add background music by simply choosing from our huge royalty-free music library. And of course, you have the option of uploading your own audio and image files as well. You can also select how long it takes the hand to draw something, so scenes, characters, and props are timed perfectly to your voiceover, should you choose to use one. Oh, and one more thing. When you upload your own image, using our enhanced Doodle Draw technology, you can make cool draw paths like this to teach Doodly exactly how you want to draw your imported images. And when you're done, you can preview your video before exporting it to a variety of formats, sizes, and qualities right to your computer, and you're ready to go. As you can see, doodle videos do an incredible job of educating, entertaining, and selling, making them one of the best investments you can make in your business. And that's especially true right now. The going rate for professional doodle video creation is anywhere from $1,000 to $3,000 to have someone make a video similar to the one that I just showed you. But with Doodly, anyone can create a doodle video regardless of tech skills and experience, meaning you can make dozens of doodle videos without paying ridiculously high fees to professional design firms. If you were to visit the Doodly.com homepage right now, you'd see the regular price for Doodly is an ongoing monthly payment, which adds up to $468 per year. But since you've landed on this promotion page, you can get your copy of Doodly right now for a one-time $67 payment. No monthly fees forever. And you'll even have access to all the free feature updates we offer our Doodly users, which is typically once every week. So to lock in this one-time $67 payment with zero monthly fees forever, go ahead and click or tap on the button next to this video to claim your copy of Doodly today. And we look forward to welcoming you to the Doodly family.
All right, so good morning. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, students from BS Cream first year. And today is Monday, and we will start again our individual reporting. And as what I have said, we don't have to wait for your schedule for as long as you are ready because we are running out of time, and our final exam is coming, and we have no choice but to cope with the available schedule. Therefore, anyone from the from 5 sections in first year can do the report for as long as you are ready. And what's good about it is you don't have to use PowerPoint or any visual aid, but rather send this in your group chat as a reference of your classmates as preparation for final exam. Now I sent here the link. Yes, the link is there. If you think you're ready, then click the link and you can start the reporting. Don't tell me walang ready from 5 section. Ako. You know the fact that 40% of your grade will be coming from this reporting. Okay. Ken Manlupig.
Ay, sir. My topic is all about post-war intervention towards agrarian reform. So, it is agrarian reform. It is a rectification of whole system of agriculture. To say about rectification is to correct or right some mga problems about agrarian reform. So mamaya, titignan natin kung saan ba i-correct ang agrarian reform dati tapos ngayon. So, agrarian reform, it is the transfer of control of the ownership of agricultural land to the It is also concerned with the total development of farmers on economic, social, and political. So, agrarian reform. Ano bang objective ng agrarian? Enhancing agriculture productivity, bettering capital formation. So dito, agrarian reform, it is not just concerned about the life of the farmers, it also concerned about the equipment and implementation. Like, kasi sa farmers kasi, mga gamit and technology habang tumatagal, lalong nag-upgrade like Carabaos. Di ba dati, hanggang ngayon, din ginagamit ng Carabaos for tawag nito, pagbungka ay ginagamit siya para mag-transfer ng palay, ginagamit siya para alaro. Pero sa panahon ngayon, kadalasan na lang ito ginagamit kasi meron namang traktor, meron namang mga kubota na nagakuan para mas madali yung proseso or pagtatanim. The next, history of agrarian reform before World War II. So dito makikita natin kung bakit kailangan ba rectification rights and i-correct ang agrarian reform dati. So ngayon, during the pre-Spanish period, before Spanish came to the Philippines, Filipinos lived village o barangays ruled by chief or dato. Di ba dati, before nag-colonize tayo ng Spanish, namumuno naman is mga datos or mga maharlikang tao. Like, it is followed by aliping or serfs and aliping sanggigilid or slaves. During the Spanish, when the Spaniard came to the Philippines, the concept of encomiendas. So itong encomiendas na ito yung mga taong makapangyarihan na kung saan mayaman. Kumbaga, sa panahon ito yung mga politicians or mga sundalo na kung saan ang aim nila, ang aim nila is tulungan ng mga Pilipino. But habang tumatagal, kasi parang inisip nila na malakas man ako, malakas yung bansa namin. So parang nagpapasok sa mind nila na parang gusto nilang mga Pilipino kasi wala silang kalaban-laban, wala man silang armas. So ang mga encomiendas parang nagiging harian sa lupang sinilangan natin. First Philippine Republic. So sa First Philippine Republic, mayroong itong station or katagang the yoke has finally broken. When the First Philippine Republic was established in 1899, General Emilio Aguinaldo Malolos Constitution. Di ba itong Malolos Constitution, ito naman ng Group 3 dati sa base cream 1A ni Bernie de Masupil. So to confiscate the large states, especially sa so-called friar lands. Ano ba itong friar lands? Mga lupain na inagaw o inangkin ng mga friar noon. Then, when American period. So, significantly during American period. So dito, yung mga lupa na inagaw ng friar noong Spanish period is binawi ng mga Amerikano. Pinabenta nila ito sa mga taong mayayaman or sa mga taong kaya bumili ng mga lupa na malalaki or malalawak, like siguro sa mga 90 to 100 hectares. So ito mga lupa na ito is na-convert into haciendas. Commonwealth period. It is ang government for the Filipinos. President Manuel Quezon exposed the social justice program to address the increasing social unrest in Central Luzon. Sa Central Luzon kasi, namumulat dito ay when World War II, yung Japanese occupation dito, nag-ari-arian ng Hukbalahap. Itong Hukbalahap is mga rebels in Central Luzon. Occupation. Dito na, pumasok na rin yung Hukbalahap. Hukbalahap controlled areas of Central Luzon. Landlords and supported the Japanese to peasants, while those who supported the Hooks, parang dito kayo sa Hukbalahap na to, yung kumbaga, kung sino yung bumayad sa kanila or sino yung malakas sa kanila, yun lang susuportahan nila. While yung mga tao naman na walang sigurong kakayahan na magpasuporta sa kanila, ginaya. Then next, the Philippine Republic. So the Philippine Republic, dito na yung pumasok si Roxas. Dito sa Philippine Republic, rehabilitation and rebuilding of the war were focused on providing solution to the problem of the past. So yung problem of the past, si Roxas, under the Roxas administration, gumawa sa mga batas upang mapaganda ang agrarian reform. Una na dito ang Republic Act No. 34 or the Philippine Rights Sharing Tenancy Act established the 70-30 sharing between the tenant and landlord respectively with reduced interest of landlord's loans to tenants at 6% or less. So itong 6%, halimbawa, naghingi ka ay ng utang ka sa corporation ng dati malaki naman 100 pesos, right? So 100 pesos. So, ang pagkakalam ko kasi, araw-araw ata yun or monthly ang interest. So, bawa kung araw-araw man, 100. So, 6 pesos kung mo, kumbaga, ang babayaran mo sa hiniram mo, 100 pesos. So, kung yung 6 pesos na yun is umabot ng 10 araw, so, maging 60 na. So, malaki na para sa mga farmers. Pero, mas okay na yun kaysa or sa mga 5-6 na meron silang interest na 12 to 14%. Yan. So, ano ba itong 70-30 sharing? Bakit tinawag na 70-30 sharing? Kung 70-30 sharing ba, if parehas sila nag-work the same, parehas sila naghati sila sa mga Nagkati sila sa mga gastusin at para sila nag-work, 30 pa rin ba ang matatanggap? Tignan natin. If the tenant, itong tenant kasi ito yung tao na parang may responsibilidad, di ba? Halimbawa, sa pamilya, farmers, walang farmers, kung meron lang lupain. So, halimbawa, singag, teacher siya. So, sa side niya, walang marunong mag-farm. So, siya mag-assign siya or mag-hanap siya na marunong mag-cultivate or marunong mag-alaga. Kumbaga, laborer. So, maghanap siya. Then, si Sir nga, Lord, kasi siya ang may-ari ng lupa. So, if the tenant furnishes the necessary implements and work animals and defrays all the expenses for planting the land, siya makakuha ng 70%. If si Sir nga naggasto, siya bumili ng chemical, siya bumili ng abono, siya bumili ng mga itatanim, siya makakuha ng 30%. If ang tenant ang landlord, if ang tenant naman, siya lang siya lang nag-abuno, kumbaga wala siyang nilabas na pera, pero yung pawis lang, kumbaga implement ng mga binayad ni Sir Ngag, sa mga 100%. But if naman, pag si Sir Ngag, si Sir Ngag, wala talagang pera, so maghingi siya ng kunting tulong sa tenant niya. So ang tenant naman ang gagasto ngayon. Siya na mabili ng abono, siya naman ang bili ng mga kahit ano. Then si Sir Ngag, siya naman ang mag-spray, siya naman mag-abono, ganyan. So si Sir Ngag na landowner, siya na ang makakatanggap 30% and ang tenant is 70%. Halimbawa naman, if parehas sila gasto, si Sir Ngag, nag-ati sila sa abono, 50-50 sila, then sa workman, tulungan din sila. If ganun ang scenario, makuha sila ng 50% each sa kanilang dalawa. Next. Also, the government, under the Roxas administration, attempt to redistribute haciendas falling prey the host of similar attempts since the support was given to small farmers who were given lands. So under the Roxas administration pa rin, dito, yung mga haciendas na pag-may-ari ng Americas dati is ginredistribute ni Roxas sa mga taong walang lupa. Next. Under the President Elpidio Quirino administration, under the term of President Elpidio Quirino, the Land Resettlement Development Corporation or LADESCO was established to accelerate the expanded settlement program for peasants. So dito naman under sa Elpidio Quirino is meron siyang batas na inilabas which is Executive Order 355 issued on October 23, 1950. He replaced the National and Resettlement Administration with Land Resettlement Development Corporation or LADESCO, which take over the responsibility of agricultural machinery. So dito, sa time ni Elpidio Quirino, kumbaga yung sa kanyang programa na LADESCO, dito, kinuha niya yung responsibility ng National and Resettlement Administration and with Resettlement Development Corporation na kung saan yung mga machinery o mga traktora, ganyan, kinuha niya, kumbaga, siya na nag-manage para mapaganda pa lalo ang agrarian reform. Next. Under the Ramon Magsaysay. Dito, Ramon Magsaysay saw the importance of pursuing genuine and land reform program and convinced the Congress majority which were land elites to pass legislation to improve the land reform situation. It also aimed to convince members of the Hooks, a movement of rebels in Central Luzon, to resettle in areas where they can find, restart, and live as peaceful citizens. So sa under Ramon Magsaysay, parang Duterte din siya. Like, kumbaga di ba si Duterte, pinapasukan niya mga rebelde ngayon para lang mabigyan ng magandang buhay. Kung bigyan ka ng livelihood program, mga pangkabuhayan, then para malayo na rin yung buhay mo sa kapahamakan, kumbaga. So, si Ramon Magsaysay, gumawa siya ng hakbang na kausapin ng mga hukbalahap sa Central Luzon para magkaroon din ng peace doon and also para makapag-start sila ng panibagong buhay. So, meron siyang Republic Act number 116 or 19 of 1954 abolished the LADESCO and established the National Resettlement and Rehabilitation Administration or NARA. To resettle the descendants and landless farmers, it was particularly aimed to rehab returnees, providing home lots and farmlands in Palawan and Mindanao. So, nakita ni Ramon Magsaysay na sa Luzon is overcrowded na rin ang mga building and also na konti na rin yung pagtataniman ng mga farmers. So, binigyan niya ng priorities itong NARA na ito, which is a Republic Act or parang isang programa ni Ramon Magsaysay na kung saan nakita niya ng Mindanao is potential when it comes to agriculture. So, si Ramon Magsaysay gumawa siya ng mga hakbang or full support para lang sa Mindanao and Palawan na kung saan magbibigay ito ng supply para sa Luzon. So kita naman natin na dito sa Mindanao is kahit saan kinilingon, di ba? Meron naman mga farms and rich in man tayo dito in resources, kumbaga. So despite a more vigorous effort toward agrarian reform, the situation for farmers remained dire since the government lack of funds and provide inadequate support service for the programs. So also, kahit ganon yung aim sana ni Ramon Magsaysay or meron siyang dream na mapaganda pa or mapamayaman pa lalo ang ekonomiya ng Pilipinas, but pera pa rin yung basihan. Kumbaga, kahit mag-aim ka pa ng malaki, pero kung wala kang pera, wala pa rin. So, yung program na NARA na yun is unti-unti pa rin unti-unti na nabaliwala kasi wala ngang pera. It was, so NARA is have three division. Una ito is settled and selection and screening. Number 2 is transportation and supply. Settlement and assistance and community work. So, settler, selection and screening. Dito, minamano-mano or kumbaga kita mo yan kung magpasali ka sa dance troupe, kumbaga pinapasayaw ka muna, tinitingnan kung potential ka pa talaga sa ganyan, kung saan ka ba or pang hip hop ka lang or pang folk dance ka lang. Dito tinitingnan dito ng mga NARA, kagawaran ng NARA na kung saan tinitingnan nila kung mayroon ka bang lupain, kung sinungaling ka ba o hindi, and transportation and supplies. Dito yung mga farmers kasi dati wala naman masyadong transportation, di ba? Like, wala man silang pambili na siguro ng mga kotse, alam masyadong kandate, ganyan. So ang transportation dati is mga hayop lang like carabao, horses, o ganyan. So ang NARA nag-provide ng transportation and supplies para sa mga farmers para mapaganda pa ang kanilang economy when it comes sa farming. Settlement assistance and community work. Dito, binibigyan sila ng community work like ng assistant like ngayon during pandemic dito sa Lambayong mga farmers is binigyan ng assistance, which is yung abono, libreng abono, tapos yung palay ba yun? Para makapan sila ulit, para makasimula ulit. Then Republic Act under pa rin ito kay Ramon Magsaysay. Republic Act under 821, Creation of Agricultural Credit, Cooperative Financing Administration, provides small farmers and shared tenants loans with interest rates of 6% or 8%. Pero itong act na to ni Ramon Magsaysay is hindi na masyadong nasusunod kasi marami may proseso when it comes sa kung mag-utang ka sa corporation. So, prefer na lang nila siguro ng pares ito sa amin, matagal man ang kung mag-utang ka sa corporation, matagal man ang proseso. So, kung kailangan mo talaga ng pera, mas prefer ang Bombay or 5-6. Pero, yun lang, mataas lang ang tubo, kumbaga mataas lang ang interest na babayaran mo. Pero, kung gusto mo lang talaga ng mabilis talaga yung perang dadating, yun. Kasi bigay-bigay man lang is, kamay to kamay man lang. Then, when it comes to President Carlos P. Garcia, he just continued the program of President Ramon Magsaysay and no legislation passed. So kay President Carlos P. Garcia, hindi mo masabing tabad siya. Kumbaga siguro nakontento na siya sa anong batas na pinanukala ni Ramon Magsaysay na kung saan nakita niya siguro na maganda na to, okay na ito, wala namang farmers na reklamo. Kasi ang mga politicians or ang sa Senado, maglabas man lang sila ng isang batas kung merong nagrereklamo, di ba? Kung wala man nagreklamo, di man sila magpalabas ng batas. So siguro si Carlos P. Garcia is nag-focus na lang sa ibang ahensya ng gobyerno, like siguro sa Department of Health, sa Education, o ganyan. Next, during naman kay Justado Macapagal, a major stride in land reform arrived during the term of President Justado Macapagal through the Agricultural Land Code Republic Act 3844. So, kay Justado Macapagal naman he abolished the Tenancy Act, which is kay Manuel A. Rojas. Ginabolish niya yung Tenancy Act, which is the 2030 sharing, and institutionalized leaseholds and retention limit at 75 hectares, and vested rights and preemptation and redemption for tenant farmers, provided the administrative machinery for implementation.
Nawala si Ken. Ken, any problem? So again, I'm reminding the reporters, if you can make your report for 10 to 15 minutes, that would be fine. No? As what I have said on the comment section, you can focus only on the gist of your topic. Like, what is it in your topic that we need to discuss or we need to know? Because it's a readings, and basically when we talk about readings, it's quite long. Okay, I'll just transfer. All right, so I guess we'll proceed now. So please tell to Ken, ito yung question sa kanya. He can just simply send his answer on the comment section. Kindly inform Kent or anyone from your team to screenshot the question. Pakisend na lang kay Kent. That's the question for Kent. And then, so ito ang mangyayari ha. We'll not base it on the section ng time natin. What I'm gonna do is, I will just follow kung sinong nasa screen ko na gustong pumasok, yun lang. Kasi kapag hintayin ko, for example, I will allot time for B, C, D, tapos wala namang papasok, sayang ang time. Whereas maraming gustong mag-report from other section. So ang mangyayari is, we will have the reporting the whole day, and yung papasok lang is yung makita ko sa screen, okay? Simple as that. Wala nang kwan dito, wala nang special treatment. Who is ready, then that's it. Siya yung mag-report. Ayaw ko na nung kwan because we've been doing that, we've been waiting for some reporters and we have given them allotted time for their section, pero ang nangyari, wala. Pangit yung naging output. Kasi ilang minutong nakahang yung ating screen and nobody reported. So parang ganun. So next will be Toledo. If you're ready, Toledo, pero naka-off ang mic mo, please tell Ken to answer the question. Thank you, Ken. Let's give Ken a round of applause, virtual applause. So now, let's proceed to Toledo.
Hello, sir. Hello.
Can you show your screen, your camera? Lorian?
Hello, sir.
Okay.
Malabo, sir. Good day po. I'm from Group 10 and my topic is about interacting with history through historical shrines and museums.
What section? What section? Huh?
E.
Okay. Okay, Lorian, proceed.
And mahanap niyo po ito sa last part ng chapter 5. So, umpisahan ko po sa objectives ng topic ko, which is to explain the importance of museums and historical shrines in the development of Filipino identity. Mahalaga po talaga itong topic na to remind us our Filipino identity through history. Kasi di ba kahit may pagkakawangis po tayo sa mga, especially sa mga Southeast Asian, mga neighboring countries natin, unique po talaga ang Filipino nation. And also to elaborate the role and demonstrate appreciation sa mga roles ng museum and historical shrines in the preservation and conservation ng heritage natin. So sabi po ni Mr. Albert Einstein, knowledge is limited whereas imaginations encircles or embraces the world. Sinasabi po dito ni Mr. Albert Einstein na kung gaano kahalaga yung imaginations natin and magagamit natin sa pag-visit historical shrines and museums. So, nakalagay dito, we are aware that research is a valuable tool to learn more about the experiences of the nation and our history. So, syempre, para mas maintindihan natin, we are going to do a research. There exist venues where we can experience history, and these are through historical shrines and museums. So, according to Ahern, if students are going to learn about the past, yung experience na makukuha sa pag-visit ng museums is kinakailangan talaga. We will be needing that kind of experiences. So, example po yung dun sa Night at the Museum, yung security guard doon, sobrang lawak ng kanyang imaginations na pati yung mga non-moving objects, napapagalaw niya at nakakausap niya sa mind niya. So, ganun po ka-powerful yung imaginations natin na magagamit natin sa historical shrines and museums. So, sabi dito, next. These venues for living history provide us a certain level of authority and trustworthiness that could impact the way we view the past. Through interacting with artifacts such as a World War II rifle or the clothes of a Filipino hero, we can better imagine the past beyond the mere letter and words we read and painstakingly memorize. Sa museum po, makikita talaga natin yung mga naiwang objects, yung mga na-retrieve, mga na-recover, pati yung mga images na ng mga sundalo natin, mga Amerikano, mga Hapon pertaining to World War II. So meron po ako ditong picture sa Philippine Military Academy. Matagal na po ito pero malabo po talaga siya kasi hindi ko po in-expect na ma-report. So ayan po siya. Talagang mabivisualize po dun sa museum yung mga sufferings ng mga pinagdaanan, mga pinaglaban, yung mga objects na ginamit ng soldiers natin na pine-preserve po ng museum na yon. And malaki po talaga yung education na ma-experience na makukuha natin kapag na-experience natin yung knowledge na yun kasi yung probability or possibility na mag-retain siya sa mind natin talagang mas tatagal po talaga siya. These tangible objects are reconstructions of the past. Experiencing these artifacts directly is the next best thing to actually being there when a particular event happened or when a historical personality lived. These first-hand experiences make historical events more real for us, and research shows that learning by experiencing aids with retention of the learning later in life. So kung babalikan po natin yung biology class natin nung junior high, kung saan nag-dissect tayo ng frog, mas na-memorize po natin siya yung mga parts na yon nung nag-dissect tayo compared nung pinakita lang yung diagram ng teacher. So parang nung sa diagram ng pagkapasok, labas agad, unlike nung na-experience natin mag-dissect, natandaan talaga natin yung mga parts nun. And tutulungan po talaga tayo ng historical shrines and museums sa pag-retain ng information. So, next, upon arriving in the historical shrine or museum, one thing that you can do is to look for the historical marker. Nakakalat po ito po yung itsura niya. 2008 pa po ito. I-send ko po, nasa PowerPoint po ito na sinend sa GC. Ang labo 2008 pa po ito siya and nakalagay po ito siya sa buong part ng Pilipinas. Example din yung kay Rizal sa Europa po. Meron po sa lugar kung saan siya nag-aral, kung saan siya tumira, and pati kumain. Nilagyan po yun ng National Historical Commission of the Philippines. These markers ensure that the site where it is located is indeed
Nasaan na si Miss Toledo from Toledo Med Office? Miss Toledo, where are you? Okay, so we'll proceed. I guess okay na yung kay Miss Toledo. Toledo. Anyway, recorded naman ito pwede tayong balikan yung kanyang mga discussion. Okay, we'll proceed to Joylyn. It's your turn, Joylyn. Kindly turn on your microphone. Okay.
Sa'yo, sir. Oh my God.
From what section, ha? Your name and your section.
Can I start na po?
Name and
Good
section. Okay, continue.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, classmate. I am Joylyn Luzamaron from Group 7 and BS Green 1B. So today, I will explain a brief summary of agrarian reform, which is, it is connected to my topic. So agrarian reform, it is not totally the law itself, but it focuses on the land ownership. So here is some definition that define what is agrarian reform. So agrarian reform is the rectification of the whole system of agriculture, the production and distribution of land among farmers. So it is the rectification of the whole system of agriculture. So it is the distribution of land resources among farmers. So from the word agrarian, it is called land, and reform, the improvement. So our previous president find ways on how to improve our land, which is our agriculture. So my topic for today is all about the agrarian reform efforts under Marcos. So on 1972, President Marcos declared a martial law. Why? Enabling him to essentially wipe out the landlord-dominated Congress. So this project is limited only to the tenanted who privately own the rice and corn lands. So this project was the purpose of this is to the farmers can able to borrow from banks and purchase 3 hectares of plots and agricultural inputs. So the primary source was the Presidential Decree number 27 on October 21, 1972. First, these shall apply the tenant farmers of private agricultural land primarily devoted to rice and corn under a system of sharecrop or less tenancy, whether classified as landed estate or not. So, this stated that this Presidential Decree number 27 was focused or limited only to the tenant farmers who privately own the land and corn, the rice and corn lands. So the second one was the tenant farmers, whether in land classified as landed estate or not, shall be deemed owner of a portion constituting a family-sized farm of 5 hectares if not irrigated and 3 hectares if irrigated. So it from the word deemed, consider. So the farmers, they are considered to be the owner of the land portion constituting a family-sized farm of 5 hectares if not irrigated and 3 hectares if irrigated. So the third one was that in all cases, the landowner may retain an area of not more than 7 hectares if such landowner is cultivating such area or will now cultivate it. So it stated that this law stipulated that the shared tenant who worked from land holding over 7 hectares could purchase the land they tilled, while shared tenant on the land less than 7 hectares would become a leaseholder. So this primary presidential decree number 27 was, this is parang rent lang po ito for the farmers na walang mga pangkabuhayan, which is the purpose of this is to uplift the poverty. So the importance of this Presidential Decree number 27 and how can the Agrarian Reform Program help the farmers will be explain it to you by my fellow reporter, Ms. Miller. That would be all, sir. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, it should be like that, no? Very good. Just a short and gist of your report will do. What matters here is you don't have to discuss the longest part of the report, but to make the longest report short and precise and comprehensive. That's the report, no? Do not pressure yourself to read too long the discussion. If you can
My
make it
goods.
naman in easy way. Okay, thank you so much, Joylyn.
Thank you,
Who's the
sir.
next? Okay. I have no question. Well said. Okay, Sentinta, your camera is turned off, turn on it. I mean your,
Sa wakas. So, good morning, sir. My report for today is doing historical research in libraries and archive. So, first, I would like to differentiate the two. Archives is,
Sentinta, you're from section
sir,
A.
yes, sir.
Okay, proceed.
So, archives, it is an accumulation of historical records in any media or any physical facilities in which they are located. So, the example of archives is unpublished records like letters, diaries, poster. And library collect and provide access to published materials in order to keep people informed, promote scholarship, and provide entertainment. So the example of libraries is published like books, periodicals. Next is research in libraries and archives. The importance of it is the importance in studying research in libraries and archives is they are the primary and secondary source. Why? Because sila yung pinagkukunan natin ng sources. Like just for example, sa sulat ni Rizal, he is the primary source like no limitang here. Doon naka-indicate kung anong nangyari sa past natin at kung ano tayo ngayon. So, the primary source, the example of primary sources is personal journals, government records, and court records. While the secondary sources are the person, event, and other historical topics. From the word history, minsan nakakaluma, but this topic is bringing us back where we've been before what we are now. So, as we are a student, we are expected to write historical essays and research through accommodating data from primary and secondary sources. And that is libraries. Kasi minsan libraries, kahit broad siya, at least nakaka-provide to ng varieties of sources. So, by reaching library, it can surely provide a variety of sources in any platforms. Yun nga lang, masyadong malawak, pero it can provide you an accurate data. So, yan lang po, sir.
Okay, thank you so much, Sentinta, for describing us the archives or one of the process or example of having historical research. Okay, thank you,
Thank you,
Sentinta. Okay, next is Granada.
Yes, sir.
You're from what section, Granada? Section A. Okay.
So, good morning, everyone. My report is about primary source preamble of the 1935 Commonwealth. First, let me read the preamble of the 1935 Commonwealth. The Filipino people, imploring the aid of divine providence in order to establish a government that shall embody their ideas, conserve and develop the patrimony of the nation, promote the general welfare, and secure to themselves and their posterity the blessing of independence under the regime of justice, liberty, and democracy, do ordain and promulgate this Constitution. So, preamble means paunang salita or overview. It is a statement which guide people of the nation, present principles of the Constitution, and to indicate the source from which document derives its authority. Commonwealth was created so that we will have our own rules and regulation to follow, and there will be the one who lead and govern the Philippines from 1935 to 1946. This constitution give Philippines a great opportunity to prepare its full independence. So originally, this constitution give us a unicameral government which has only and one legislative and only have president and vice president that have 6 years terms without any re-election. However, binago ito noong 1940 bilang bicameral government. Nung naging bicameral na, nagkaroon tayo ng dalawang government which ay two legislative which is It composed Senate and House of Representatives. Then the President and Vice President give also give 4 years term, limited 4 years term with one re-election. Then it gives Filipino men rights to suffrage. What do we mean by rights to suffrage? Rights to suffrage give us men Filipino to right para makapaghalal o makapagboto. Basta nakaabot lang sila ng 21 years old and able to and read and write. Then later on, after 2 years, it was adapted to women Filipino. Wait. While the dominant influences in the Constitution was American, it also bears traces of the Malulus Constitution, the German, Spanish, and Mexican Constitution of several South American countries, and the unwritten English Constitution. The adapt of the Constitution was approved by the Constitutional Convention on February 1935 and ratified by the U.S. President Franklin D. Roosevelt on 25 March 1935. Elections were held in September 1935 and when Manuel L. Quezon was elected President of the Commonwealth. The Commonwealth was briefly interrupted by the events of the World War II with the Japanese occupying the Philippines. Afterward, upon the liberation, the Philippines was declared an independent republic for July 1966. So the Commonwealth ay noong pagdating ng World War II, nung sinakop tayo ng Japanese occupation, naantala ang naantala ang Commonwealth of the Philippines 1935 dahil merong ibang law or rules and regulation na sinusunod ang Pilipinas dahil nga na-occupy tayo ng Japanese. Yun lang, sir.
Okay, thank you so much for discussing us this virtual, lesson about suffrage and about the era of the Spaniard. Okay, thank you so much, Granada. Thank you. Next,
Yes,
we
sir.
have Thailand, Granada. Your microphone is off. Kindly turn it on.
Sir. Okay na po ba, sir?
Yes, what section?
F po, F.
Okay,
1F.
proceed.
Ang topic ko po ngayon is chapter 5, doing history. Doing history is po sa paggawa ng history. This present the ideas and the debate that shape how you do history today, covering argument about the nature of historical knowledge and the function of history, writing whether we can really know what happened in the past. What is the historian depend on and the relative value of popular and academic histories. Napapaloob din dito yung new chapter of history. And then activity history and look like a global presentation of the past across the centuries and provide up the date of suggestion for further reading. So dito na po tayo sa kwan. Kasi yung sa akin po sa report is yung kwan, introduction ng report namin. Learning objective. To manifest interest in a local history and cultural heritage. To manifest in a local history and cultural heritage is one might be understand the significance of the local history and of a human heritage first, by recognizing of heritage of a human. Second is to apply a historical method in a writing history of locality or country. First, what do we mean his historiographical method is one of the method of writing a history. This based on critical examination. Based of source, ang pagpipili ng particular ng detalye from authentic materials sa authentic materials in those source details into a narrative that stands the test of critical examination. The term historiographical also presents the theory of history of historical writing. Modern historians aim to reconstruct a record of human activities and to achieve more profound and understanding of them. Ang konsepto ng kailangan natin na pag-aaralan nito ay quit, reshape, and the writing from the development in the last 18th century to 19th century of scientific history and the simultaneous race and history as academic profession. Ang halimbawa nito is yung ginawa natin na yung documentary video is local history yun. Pangatlo is to incorporate the technology in the discipline of history. Why we need to incorporate the technology to the discipline of history? Because it is the transportation and communication technologies have been woven into the fabric of social history. Since before the invention of the wheel, with this help, the technology brought us an improvement of global communication, economy, trade, and culture exchange. Pang-apat sa learning objective is to appropriate the value of doing history to the present day. Doing history has a value of present because history and nurtures person and collective identity. It is a diverse word. Na-discover natin ng mga tao ang lugar na tao na pamamagitan ng kwento ng pamilya, komunidad at bansa. Also a critical thinking. History teaches a vital skills, and history thinking requires a critical approach to evidence and argument and development and contextual understanding the historical perspective. And a variant of communities is isa din na nagkakaroon ng matibay na pundasyon ng isang community. And it is sa kuha na tayo sa topic na it is not we know your history, you must realize by participating in the about of the past and our present. This chapter, writing history, special attention will be given doing online research and library, archival research, biographical life and history, and local and oral history. And then it's not enough to know your hour, but do you recognize the social change ay maaari makapag-ambag ng pamamagitan ng pagsusulat sa nakaraan o history o sa ngayon ay the present days. This chapter focus on applying skills in about you have learned from the previous lesson. By doing history, wanted to write stories, help us to develop a better understanding of the world you can build a framework on which based on your without understanding how work in this world. History is based on the detailed picture of society. So that online research history you forgone the tedious forgone the tedious and acute uncuted guard of cataloging system, and doing online research, visiting some historical place like museum, help you understand the history better, get in a new knowledge. Kasi sa loob ng museum is marami tayong makikita na uh, history ng ating bansa. Yun lang po, sir. Hanggang lang po yung topic.
Okay, thank you so much, Samyon, for giving us a gist of how to do historical research. And please listen to the historical research because you will be doing historical research. I'm still planning kung magkaroon ba kayo ng final exam or the historical research na lang. Anyway, let's discuss about it na lang. Okay, thank you,
Yes,
Samyon.
sir.
Please don't
Thank you,
forget
sir.
to send the copy of your report in our GC, ha? Kasi bigyan
Yes,
ka
sir.
ng grade. Okay,
Sa
okay.
GC
Go.
sa output, sir?
No, doon sa instruction. GC for
Sige.
everybody. Okay, okay.
Sige, sir po, sir.
Next, Lilam.
Good morning, sir, and to all the viewers of StreamYards. This is Queenie Sililam from BS Stream 1A. So my
Okay.
report is all about Constitution after martial law. So the Constitution after martial law went through selection process wherein President Corazon Aquino, a president installed via the People Power Revolution, was granted three options. First, to revert or restore the 1935 Constitution. Second is to retain and make reforms of the 1973 Constitution. And the third is to pass a new constitution. So she decided to pass, to draft a new constitution wherein truly reflects the aspirations and ideals of the Filipinos. So, and she also issued Proclamation number 3 on March 25, 1986, abrogating many of the provisions of the 1973 Constitution adopted during Marcos regime. So, it is named as the Freedom Constitution. So, this constitution was intended as a transitional constitution to ensure democracy and the freedom of the people. So the Freedom Constitution provided for an orderly transfer of power while the Constitution or the Constitutional Commission was drafting a permanent constitution. So the Constitutional Commission was composed of 48 members appointed by President Aquino from varied backgrounds, including several members of the House of Representatives, former justices of the Supreme Court, a Roman Catholic bishop, and political activists against the Marcos regime. So the commission elected Cecilia Munoz Palma, a former associate judge of the Supreme Court, as its president. So the commission finished the final draft on October 12, 1986, and presented it to Aquino on October 15. So then the constitution was ratified by a nationwide plebiscite on February 2, 1987. So just like any other constitution, the 1987 constitution provides its own preamble and 18 self-contained articles. So you can see that if you are going to search the 18 self-contained articles, so the 1987 constitution has as at a whole there are 18 articles, 18 provisions articles that has been provided in the 1987 constitution. So those articles establish Philippines as a democratic republican state wherein sovereignty resides in the people and all government authorities emanates from them. So you can check this also on the Article 2, Section 1 of the 1987 Philippine Constitution under the Declaration of Principles and State Policies. Then, the Constitution also provided the three branches of government, known as the executive, legislative, and judiciary, to divide. The main purpose of this is to divide the governmental powers as people had been traumatized of Marcos dictatorship. So these branches of government have its own ways to keep precedent in check. So, in conclusion,
the Constitution after martial law is called the 1987 Constitution, which is also the current Constitution that we are using today. So it is known as the democratic and republican state in which the power mainly resides and emanates from the people. So it is because as the Constitution formed based on the aspirations and ideals of Filipinos. So for better understanding of the three branches of government, make sure to listen carefully to Ms. Shella May Kaliman for the continuation of this.
Okay, so thank you so much, Ms. Lilam, for discussing us the Constitution under Marcos regime.
Sir, tapos na.
Kitaan to. Nagaling si Sira. Ako na lang isa. Hello sir, ako na po ba? Ang silaw.
Yeah.
Yogs, nandula si Sira. Ako na pa eh.
Hey, Pagayon, I'm here. I just turned off my camera, but I hear you.
Ang hali.
Turn on your camera, Pagayon.
Pwede na po ba sir?
I-off ko yung camera ko, pero you can continue.
Apo sir. Good morning sir, and to my fellow students that who are watching now and listening. I am Rolly Pagayon from BS Cream 1B, Group 8, and I am here for today to report our topic number 8 about evolution of Philippine taxation. Taxation in Spanish Philippines, taxation under the Americans, taxation under the Commonwealth period, and last, the fiscal policy from 1946 to present. Evolution is the gradual development of something, especially from a simple to a more complex form. Tax is a compulsory financial change or other type of levy imposed on a taxpayer by a governmental organization in order to fund government spending and various public expenditures. A failure to pay and along with evasion of or resistance to taxation is punishable by law. Taxation is a reality that all the citizens must contend with for the primary reasons that the government raise revenue from the people they govern to be able to function fully. In exchange for the taxes that people pay, the government promises to improve the funds, develop and evolve do, through time, and in the context of the Philippines, we must understand that it came with our colonial experience. To understand the evolution of Philippine taxation and how the taxation in the Philippines improve and evolve, so let us hear Miss Ethel Grace Munar, one of our members in our group, to continue our report about taxation in Spanish Philippines. Yan lang po sir, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Pagayon. Thank you about discussing us a little bit about taxation. And don't forget to
Opo
send
sir,
the
thank
copy
you.
of the report by our GC. Okay?
Opo sir, thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay, Miss Foro.
Good morning, sir.
Morning.
Good morning, everyone. My topic is all about the 1973 Constitutional Authoritarianism. Ang saligang batas na ito ay pinagtibay sa panahon ni Marcos. So, how did it started? In 1965, Ferdinand Marcos was elected as president. And 1967, he passed a resolution calling for constitutional convention para mapalitan yung 1935's constitution. Also, Marcos was the first president who was re-elected by campaign overspending and use of government funds. Siya ay nanuhol sa mga tao upang manalo. And then the election of delegates to the Constitutional Convention were held on November 20, 1970, but it formally began on June 1, 1971. Former President Carlos P. Garcia being elected as convention president. But unfortunately, he died, so he succeeded by another former president, Diosdado Macapagal. But before the convention finished, Marcos declared martial law. By the reason of it is the growing communist insurgency o yung mga taong lumalabag sa kanyang pamumuno. Ipinakulong at ibinalanggo ang mga taong hindi gusto ang kanyang pamumuno. Marcos as the dictator o yung presidenting naga-ruled by power. He did manipulated the document to be able to hold power for as long as he could. On November 29, 1972, the convention approved its proposed constitution, which is yung parliamentary-style government which is the legislative power was vested o yung ang Pangulo mismo ang siyang mamumuno ng gabinete. And then yung Prime Minister ay siyang may kapangyarihan na pamumunuan yung gabinete din. And then with members, National Assembly members was being elected to 6-year term and same as ang Pangulo. Pero yung Pangulo, pwede siyang i-re-elected unlimited number of terms. Unlike sa 1935's Constitution, which is 4 years term lang yung pwede nila And then, President Marcos issued Presidential Decree number 73, setting the date of plebiscite to ratify or reject the proposed constitution on November 30, 1973. And then, this plebiscite was postponed. Na-postpone ang pagboto dahil si Marcos ay natakot na yung iba ay hindi i-accept ang kanyang constitution. But on January 17, 1973, the Constitution issued a proclamation announcing that the proposed constitution had been ratified by an overwhelming vote of the members of the highly irregular Citizen Assembly. Yan lamang po, sir.
Thank you so much, Ms. Foro. Please don't forget to send a copy of your report in our group chat, okay?
Opo, sir.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Kalim.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. I'm Althea Kalim from BS Stream 1A. My topic for today is the Commonwealth Constitution. First, what is Commonwealth? A nation, state, or other political unit such as one founded on law and united by compact or tacit agreement of the people for the common good, one in which supreme authority is vested in the people. So, I will have a brief discussion about the Treaty of Paris. Treaty of Paris was a treaty signed by Spain and the United States on December 10, 1898, that ended the Spanish-American War. Cuba gained its independence and Spain ceded the Philippines, Guam, and Puerto Rico and the United States for the sum of $20 million. So, yung Treaty of Paris, parang it's a matter of pride ng Spain kasi ayaw nilang aminin na natalo sila. So, ginawa nila yung Treaty of Paris. So, moving on, United States promised the Philippines their independence once they are liberated enough that they can govern themselves. U.S. Congress passed the Jones Act of 1916, which just means they leave us alone if we can govern ourselves, or they can see that we can model our government like theirs. So, unlike sa Spain na pinahirapan talaga tayo, yung United States naman parang maganda yung intention nila. Yung as long as makita nila we can govern ourselves and yung government natin parang parehas sa kanila, pakpakawalan nila tayo. And fast forward to the 90s, the promise of the United other things like enhance their military and prepare. Will it be easy to the US to let us go? This is a nice idea for some, but there are some people who disagree. The immediate suggestion was giving us a transitionary period to the Philippines to prepare itself for independence. This transitionary period will be the Commonwealth of the Philippines. So, what is it like getting that independence? In 1932, the United States Congress passed the Hare-Harris Cutting Act, passed by the Congressman Butler B. Hare, Senator Harry Harris, since the name is Hare-Harris Cutting Act, and Senator Bronson Cutting. The bill was opposed by Senate President Manuel L. Quezon and consequently rejected by the PH Senate. Summarize ko na lang kung bakit ni-reject ito ni Manuel L. Quezon. Nakasaad kasi sa bill na kahit i-grant pa ng independence yung Philippines, there are still US military bases. Tapos parang hawak pa rin ng US yung Philippines. Also sabi sa bill na malaki pa rin yung tariffs na babayaran ng Philippines pag nag-i-import or export ng goods. So malaking epekto ito para sa Filipino farmers. Another one, it was rejected by US President Herbert Hoover because 10 years wouldn't be enough for the Philippines to be ready for independence. In 1934, another law was passed the Tidings-McDuffie Law Act, also known as the Philippine Independence Act, made by Senator Mayor Tidings and Congressman McDuffie. Nakasaad dito na PH will decide whether to keep the bases or not, the US military bases. Independence will be granted after 10 years. This time, the president was US President Franklin Roosevelt. He signed the bill and making it into a law. Prior to the reason na siya ay isang Democrats. He cares about the rights of the minority. The act was shown to the Philippine Congress and it was ratified on May 1, 1934. Then the Constitutional Convention was created in the Philippines and Roosevelt approved the Philippine Constitution. On March 23, 1935, national election was held on July 1935. Manuel L. Quezon was elected as president and Sergio Osmeña as his vice president. This is the first time since the PH has had the president since Emilio Aguinaldo. Yun lamang po.
Okay, thank you so much for the comprehensive discussion. Kalem, thank you so much. Let's give Kalem a virtual applause. Now let's proceed to Marisol Lozado. Your microphone is, kindly turn on your microphone. Okay.
So, good morning, sir, and good morning to my fellow classmates. I am Marisol Ponce Lozado, and I will discuss to you my topic, and it's all about under the Roxas administration. So, rehabilitation and rebuilding after war was focused on the providing solution to the problem of the past. So it stated there that this administration was focused on providing solution to the problem of the past. So one of the problem is the poverty. That's why President Rojas find ways to improve the Philippines. So the example of her administration, he passed the Republic Act number 34, which is a 70 to 30 sharing arrangement between tenant and landlord, respectively, and reduce the entrance landowner loans to tenant at 6% or less. It means 70% of the harvest will go to the person who shouldered the expenses for planting, harvesting, and the work for animals. It also reduced the interest of the landowner loans to tenant at not more than 6%. So those are the those are the rehabilitation during or under the Rojas administration. So amo lang to, sir.
Okay, thank you so much. Next, the assess.
Sir, good
Kindly
morning,
turn on
sir.
your microphone. Okay, good morning.
Good morning, sir. My report is the 1935 Constitution. So this is the continuation of our group mates, which is the report in the previous class. So Constitution means the basic principle and laws of a nation, state, or social group that determine the power and duties of the government and guarantee certain rights of the people in it. So Article 1, the national territory. So Section 1, the Philippines comprises all the territories ceded to the United States by the Treaty of Paris, concluded between the United States and Spain of the 10th day on December 1898, the limits of which are set for Article 3 in said treaty, together with all the islands and embraced in the treaty concluded at the Washington between the United States and Spain of the 7th day of November. And so Article 2, Declaration of Principles. So the Section 1, the Philippines is a republican state, sovereignty and resides in the people, and all government authority emanates from them. Section 2, the defense of the state is a prime duty of a government, and all the fulfillment of this duty, all citizens may be required by law to render personal, military, or civil service. So Section 3, the Philippine renounce war as an instrument of the nation policy and adopt the generally accepted principles of international law as part of the law of the nation. Section 4, the natural rights and duty of parents in the rearing of the youth for civic efficiency should receive the aid and support of the government. Section 5 from the Article 2, the promoting of social justice to insecure the well-being and economic security of all the people should be the concern of the state. So the Article 3, the Bill of Rights, Section 1, no person shall be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, or shall any person be denied the equal protection of the laws. So Section 2, private property shall not be taken for public use without just compensation. So Section 3, the right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrant shall be issued but upon probable cause, to be determined by the judge after examination under the affirmation of the complainant and the witness he may produce, and particularly describing the place and to be searched and persons to be seized. So i-summarize na natin sir kay daw damo gid ang ang
Okay.
section. Tapos the Article 4, the citizenship. The following are citizens of the Philippines. So Section 1, those who are citizens of the Philippine Islands at the time of the adoption of the Constitution So number two, those born in the Philippines island of the foreign parents who before the adoption of this constitution had been elected to public office in the Philippine Islands. Those whose fathers are citizens of the Philippines. So number four, those whose mothers are citizens of the Philippines and upon reaching the age of majority affect the Philippine citizenship. So number five, those who are naturalized in accordance with law. Section 2, Philippine citizen may lose or reacquired in manner provided by the law. So Article 5, suffrage. So suffrage may be exercised by the male citizen of the Philippines not otherwise disqualified by law who are 21 years of age or ever uh, and are able to read and write and who shall have resided in the Philippines for 1 year and in the municipality wherein their purpose to vote for at least 6 months preceding the election. So the National Assembly um, the National Assembly shall extend and the right of suffrage to women if the plebiscite which shall be held for that purpose within 2 years after adoption of the Constitution. Not less than 302,000 women possessing the necessary qualification shall vote affirmatively on the question. Article 6, Legislative Department. Section 1. The legislative power shall be vested in National Assembly. The members of the National Assembly shall not exceed 120, shall be chosen every 3 years, and shall be apportioned among the several provinces as nearly as may be according to the number of the respective inhabitants. So, Article 6, damo-damo section. Article 7, Executive Department. So, the executive power shall be vested in the President of the Philippines. So, the Section 2 of the Article 7, the President shall hold his office during a term of 6 years and together with the Vice President chosen for the same term shall be elected by direct vote of the people. The election returns for the President and Vice President duly certified by the Board of Carnivores of which province shall be transmit of the National Assembly. So Article 8, Judicial Department. So the judicial power shall be vested in one Supreme Court and in such interior courts as may be established by the law. So Article 9, Impeachment. So the President, the Vice President, the Justice of the Supreme Court, and the Auditor General shall be removed from office in impeachment for and conviction of culpable violation of the Constitution, treason, verbally, or other high crimes. The Commission on Impeachment of the National Assembly, by a vote of two-thirds of its members, shall have the sole power and impeachment. So the judgments in cases of impeachment shall not extend further than to removal from office and disqualification to hold remaining office of honors. So Article 10, the General Auditing Office. There shall be a General Auditing Office under the direction and control of Auditor General, who shall hold office for a term of 10 years and may not be disappointed. The Auditor General shall be appointed by the President with the consent of the Commission on Appointments and shall receive an annual compensation to fixed by law which shall not be diminished during his continuance in office. So the Article 11, which is the civil service. So a civil service embracing all the branches and subdivision of the government shall be provided by law appointments and in the civil service, except as to those which are policy determining primarily confidential or highly technical in nature shall be made one according to merit and fitness. So the Article 13, the conservation and utilization of natural resources. So all agricultural timber and minerals lands of the public domain, waters, minerals, coal, petroleum, and other minerals oils are forces or potential energy, and other natural resources of the Philippines belong to the state and their disposition, exploitation, development, or utilization limit to citizens of the Philippines. So the Article 13, the general provision, Section 1, the flag of the Philippines shall be red, white, and blue with the sun and three stars and concentrated and honored by the people and recognized by the law. All public officers and members of the armed forces shall take an oath to support and defines the Constitution. So Article 14, amendments. The National Assembly, by a vote of three-fourths of all its members, may propose amendments to its constitution or call it convention. For that purpose, such amendments shall be valid as a part of the constitution when approved by a majority of votes cast, the election of which amendments are submitted to the people for their ratification. Article 15, transitory provisions. In the first section, election of the officers provided in this constitution, and the inauguration of the government of the Commonwealth of the Philippines shall take place as provided in Public Act numbered 127 of the Congress of the United States, approved March 24, 1934. So Article 16, special provision effect upon of the proclamation of the independence of the Philippines. Upon the proclamation of the President of the United States recognizing the independence of the Philippines, the property rights of the United States and the Philippines shall be promptly adjusted and settled, and all the existing property rights of the citizens or corporations the United States shall be acknowledged, respect, and safeguarded to the same extent and property right of the citizens of the Philippines. So the Article 17, the Commonwealth and the Republic. The government established by this constitution shall be known as the Commonwealth of the Philippines. Upon the final and complete withdrawal of the sovereignty of the United States and the proclamation of the Philippine independence, the Commonwealth of the Philippines shall thenceforth by known as the Republic of the Philippines. So ordinance appended to the Constitution. Then, depending the final and complete withdrawal of the sovereignty of the United States of the Philippines, there shall be a resident commissioner of the Philippines to the United States, who shall be appointed by the President of the Commonwealth of the Philippines with the consent of the commission and appointment. So all of yun lang po sir yung lahat ng Constitution ng 1935 sir. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so
That's
much.
Thank you sir,
Please,
and God bless.
Yes, don't forget to send the copy of your report in our group chat. Okay, we'll explain naman, so I have no question with that. Your classmate will read it further na lang. Thank you.
Yes sir.
Diaz. Okay, next, Cathedral.
Good morning, everyone. But my Good morning, everyone. My name is Blessed Cathedral from BS Cream 1B, and my report is all about the primary source preamble of the 1935 Commonwealth. Preamble is not the Constitution itself, but it is only the introductory statement or the introductory part of a Constitution. But preamble is the most important part of the Constitution because it stated the reason, the purpose, and the aims and the intent of the law. So may I read the preamble of the 1935 Commonwealth? It stated the Filipino people imploring the aid of divine providence in order to establish a government that shall embody their ideas, conserve and develop the patrimony of the nation, promote the general welfare, and secure to themselves and their posterity the blessings of independence under the regime of justice, liberty, and democracy, do ordain and promulgate this Constitution. So let us discuss kung ano ang nilalaman ng preamble of the 1935 Commonwealth or the 1935 Commonwealth Constitution. The Constitution created the Commonwealth of the Philippines, an administrative body governed the Philippines from 1935 to 1946. Commonwealth of the Philippines became an administrative body na namamahala sa Pilipinas noong 1935 to 1946, and it has been created to implement laws, regulation, and government policy and it has been created para meron na tayong sariling laws, regulation, or government policy na sundin at para meron na tayo nang maglilid at mag-guide. It has a big impact of change for our administration because it is preparing for the country to achieve the independence. And thanks for this constitution because it's a great opportunity or it is a step forward to achieve the full independence that we are aiming. Our type of government originally provided for unicameral National Assembly. So what is unicameral? Unicameral is a system or it's a government with one legislative house or chamber. So nung una, we have only one legislative house or chamber, and our president and vice president has a 6-year term without re-election. But later on, it was amended in 1940 to have a bicameral Congress. So ano naman yung bicameral Congress? Bicameral Congress is referred to a government with two legislative house or chamber composed of Senate and House of Representatives. Noong una, di ba meron tayong noong unicameral, our president and vice president has a 6-year term without re-election. Noong nag-bicameral na, our president and vice president has only 4 years term, pero pwede pa silang ihalal ulit with one re-election. And due to the creation of this constitution, it gives the male citizen of the Philippines rights to suffrage. What is right to suffrage? Rights to suffrage is the right or the privilege of the individual to vote, and but only for those male citizen ages 21 years pataas and are able to read and write. But thankfully, after 2 years, after the adaptation of the Constitution, it has been extended to women at pwede na ring bumoto at maghalal ang women. They say that the 1935 Commonwealth Constitution influenced or inspired by American Constitution because due to this time we are colonized by American, but also
Are you still there, Miss Cathedral? Hello, Miss Cathedral, are you still there? Are you still with us? Or you're already in another dimension? Just kidding. Miss Cathedral, are you still with us? Sayang, maganda pa naman yung discussion mo. Okay, thank you so much, Miss Cathedral, for discussing us some part of the 1987 Constitution, and you have emphasized on the suffrage, no, the right to vote, and it's our primary right and freedom of Philippines under 1987. Now, let's proceed to Crystal Flores.
Sir,
Yes, it's your turn to shine.
About constitution after martial law in 1987, sir.
From what section are you?
From Scream 1F, sir.
1F, okay.
President Corazon Aquino governments had a option regarding the Constitution. First to the 1930 Constitution retained the 1973 Constitution and be granted the power to make reforms or start anew and break from vestiges of the state dictatorship. First, first option as revert to the 1935 Constitution. The 1935 provides the legal basis of the Commonwealth government which was considered a transition government for the granting of the Philippine with American Constitution and Constitution establish and operate this administration and communication. For retain the 1973 Constitution, the 1973 Constitution composed a preamble and 107 articles provide for the chief from president parliamentary system of government. The Constitution with the legislative power the nation assembly. Martial law, however, was actually declared 2 days later when President Marcos announced it to national television when democracy was prepared by the Freedom Constitution. Philippine Constitution, often called the Freedom Constitution, this constitution was intended as a constitutional constitution to ensure democracy and freedom of people. Freedom to provide for a orderly transition of power while Constitution Commission will draft a permanent constitution. After Roxas in February 1986, she established the 1972 Constitution and replaced it with what's called the freedom. Yun lang po.
Are you done?
Sir.
Are you done? Tapos ka na?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Mr. Cristal Zade Flores, please send us the summary or what is the significance of your discussion in our GC since it's unclear. So you rather send us a sentence or a short statement about what is the most important part of your discussion, okay? Pakisend naman sa ating group chat, okay?
Sure.
Group chat of 1F. Okay, thank you so much. Please don't forget to send your slide and the most important or the summary of your discussion. Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Haris.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. You're from what section?
From this Scream 1B, sir.
1B, okay, natangkop.
My topic for today, sir, is talk about fiscal policy from 1946 to present.
The impact of the war on the Philippines economy was the effectively disparate is Manila capital was the race to the ground while the race of the Philippines was relatively the United States was may have declared the Philippines independent, but as a country needed to rehabilitation fund from the US. The dependency of the Philippines to the US was the opportunity to be a taking advantage of by the US. No effort were made to improve the tax collection as United States advised the adoption of direct taxation. President Manuel Ruas declared for political reason. Prior to the Philippines national election of 1946, at the height of the last Commonwealth election, Senate President Ruas and his friend left the Liberal Party. Osmeña refused to campaign, saying that the Filipino people knew of his reputation. Example of fiscal policy involved change in taxes of spending, like government budget, to achieve economics goals. So, ang focus ng fiscal policy is to improve the taxation collection para sa influensyahan ang ekonomiya, like for example to reduce poverty. So isa sa mga way sa government para ma-sustain ang ibang pangangailangan ng mga mahirap na Pilipino ay ang pag-collect ng tax para ang tax na makukuha nila ay gagamitin nila para i-improve ang ating ekonomiya. Nang sa ganun ay mapababa ang kahirapan sa ating bansa. Kaya ang main point talaga ng fiscal policy ito ay improve ang economy and to reduce poverty. That's all, sir. Thank you.
Okay, so your topic is about fiscal. Okay, thank you so much, Haris Natangko. Anyway, na-explain mo naman. Okay. Thank you. Okay, next, Pinto. Pinto, you're the next one.
Okay, sir. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
My topic is doing historical research online. Let us start with the first tool that any student nowadays would use to do research, the internet. It has increasingly become the primary means by which anyone would find any information that they need. With a single click, students are able to access tons and tons of available information. So much information, in fact, that it would be easy to get lost on the data available. So dito, sir, is sinasabi dito na alam naman natin, sir, na nowadays is ang primary source natin sa mga information is the internet. Isang click mo lang, basta sa nag-research ka is marami kang makita mga information, sir.
Yes.
Cyberspace is a good resource for research if you know how to use it properly. Remember that just because information is available does not mean you should get and use it right away. Appropriating something such as an idea as yours is considered plagiarism, which is one of the worst crimes in academia. Treat you find online as a source and use the same historical methods you have learned to analyze the data you get online. So ito nga, sir, cyberspace is maraming information na makikita, pero hindi ibig sabihin na available ang mga information is pwede mo na siyang kunin at gamitin. Hindi pwede yun, sir. Is kung gamitin mo siya, sir, kailangan mag-cite ka sa author na kung saan mo information. Ang example ng plagiarism, sir, is si Mark Joseph Hollis, na kung saan is gumamit siya ng picture na ginamit niya sa competition, which is Word. Basta, sir, may ginamit siyang picture na ginamit niya sa competition, pero yung picture na yun, sir, nanalo at sinabi niya na yung picture na yun is nakunan niya sa Sambuaga, pero kalaunan lumantad din yung totoong may-ari na si Gregory John Smith. So yun, sir, nakasuhan siya. Full skill that will get you far in doing historical research online is knowing where to look and how to look. engine websites such as yahoo.com or google.com could lead you to a lot of sources with the right search strings. So ito sir, kung magre-research ka, dapat mo yung word na how and where. Yung where is, alam mo dapat kung saan ka magre-research, and then yung how, dapat alam mo kung paano mag-research. A search string is combination of words that you use to come up with the relevant results and lead you to what you are looking for. The more refined your strings is more definite and refined the result will be. So ang search strings is yung mga combination of words na ginagamit mo research. Halimbawa, mag-research ka ng mga ganito na lang sir is, halimbawa, manunod ka ng movie sa YouTube. Yung i-type mo na word, yun yung tinatawag na search string. Google also provides its own customized platform for scholarly research called Google Scholar. You may use it to find electronic journal articles, materials from institutional repositories, and book chapters from any different sources. So sir, ang maganda kay Google kung ikaw ay nag-uumpisa mag-research o gumagawa ng research about journal articles, meron siyang si Google meron na i-provide na customized platform na kung saan ay doon ka makikita journal articles. Kumaga parang ano siya sir, customized platform siya ng Google na sir. Doon mo makikita ang iba't ibang journal articles. Google Books also provides sources for scanned books where you may be able to read some chapters for free. This could be useful if you want to know if a certain book would useful to your research, for going to a physical library to loan the book, photocopy page of it. So sir, maliban sa Google Scholar, meron ding Google Books. Itong Google Books sir is, dito malalaman na yung mga libro na nababasa mo is reliable siya sir. So sir, yun lang pong report ko sir.
Okay, so your topic is about finding sources through internet. And you're really true, especially today, we are amidst pandemic. We have no choice but to use sources from the internet. But as what I've been talking to you, or as what I have been telling you, when you're using the internet, see to it that it is what? The first consideration is, it is reliable, valid, no? Di ba always may sinabi sa inyo? And please mind the students, because you are going to use this in your final exam. Okay, dapat alam mo paano maghanap ng mga sources through internet.
Sir,
okay, thank you.
Wait lang sir.
Yes.
Sir, wait lang. Yung kasama ko sir, mag-report siya ngayon. Andito siya sa tabi ko sir.
Okay, sino? Si?
Mary Grace Soronio po sir.
Okay, from 1C din? Okay.
Opo.
Okay, you proceed, Soronio.
Doing historical research online pa rin po, sir.
Okay.
Kadugtong lang po, sir.
Okay.
Sometimes, a simple search online is all you need to find the data you need. And most often, one of the first results that will come out will be this from Wikipedia. Wikipedia is the biggest open source encyclopedia in the whole of cyberspace. And in 2017, it has 40 million articles in 293 languages. Being an open source encyclopedia, anyone can contribute or edit articles in the site, which makes some of the information in the site reliable. So it means hindi tanan nga ara sa mga source is tama, kailangan mo ma-search kung kailan ba ang date, tapos article niya kung tama ba, kung damo sa tapos reliable sa kumbaga kung ano ang mga sanugin himo, sino ang author. Wikipedia provides a useful sources that you may use for research. When you read from Wikipedia, look at the links, citations in the article. which could lead you to a source you may use for your own research. However, exercise caution in using the site, as many in the academy frown upon research that utilize Wikipedia. As a practice, use Wikipedia to gain a general overview of what you need to know so that you may be guided in looking for credible and reliable sources that you need for your research. So, amo to sir, so kailangan mo gid mag-search para makakuha ka sa tama nga impormasyon, hindi nga magpataka-taka ka lang sa source nga hindi man siya ano sa na hindi tama. So, kailangan mo gid mag-search sa iban nga site. There are websites that you may use to legally download scanned copies of books and other materials for free, especially those with expired copyrights and are in public domain. Another online archive you use is Internet Archive, www.archive.org, online library that originally sought to archive web history, but grew later to provide versions of other works. The archive contains 79 billion web pages, 11 million books, and 4 million into recordings, 3 million videos. Philippine government websites www.gov.ph are starting to be enriched with sources that may be used for historical research, especially on laws and other government instruments that may be useful when doing topics of a more contemporary period. Websites of newspapers, magazines, broadcasting stations, and other media outlets usually keep an archive of their content from a particular date. So yun, sir. Hindi lang man tanan nga ara sa internet is tama. So, ang iban ara sa mga newspaper. Ang iban sa sila makita sa mga libro, sa newspaper, tapos ang iban sa internet pero gid para gusto mo gid makakita sa mga source, kailangan mo mag-search sa mga iban, mga para mabalaan mo gid tama ang mga source nga
Are you done, Miss?
Yes po, sir.
Okay, so you discuss about for you what is the most important consideration in using the online source? Para sa ano yung pinakamalagang i-consider ng isang writer or student bago kumuha ng mga source in the internet?
Magkuha sir is magkuha sa mga source is kung sano gibutang ang sano ba gibutang ang kung diin ba siya gikuha ang source, kung sino ang author sito, sir.
Okay, so next time speak in Filipino or English, do not use mother tongue because we're already cut. Okay, when you're answering question, speak English or yes, that's right. You should know the author. Like what I've been discussing you, di ba? Alamin mo kung legit ba yung author na yun, baka chismis lang.
Yes, sir.
And know where it was published, the year it was published, and the publisher. Because please mind this student as again because you'll be using this online searching in your final exam. I will be sending your final exam maybe later or tomorrow. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you. Next, Miagar. It's your turn, Miagar. Kindly turn on your microphone.
Hello, sir. Good morning po.
Yes.
So, ang report ko po is situation po ng report
How much
ni Ms.
section are you?
po. Start na ko, sir.
Section mo.
Ng BSM 1B po.
1B. Okay. You may start now. 1B.
Continuation lang po ito ng report kanina ni Ms. Maron, sir.
Okay.
So what is the purpose of Presidential Decree number 27? The purpose of Presidential Decree number 27 is to determine the cost of the land to be transferred to the tenant farmers. The value of the land shall be equivalent to 2.5 times the average harvest of 3 crop years immediately preceding the promulgation of this decree. Total cost of the land, including interest at the rate of 6% per annum, shall be paid by the tenant farmers, a member with a cooperative having a right recourse against him. So this shall apply to all tenant farmers of private agricultural lands primarily devoted to rice and corn under a system of sharecrop or lease tenancy, whether classified as landed state or not. How can this agrarian reform program help the farmers? His agrarian reform was designed to uplift the farmers from poverty and ignorance and make them useful, dignified, responsible, and progressive partners in nation building. So its goals are to provide landowners equality in terms of income and opportunities, empower landowner beneficiaries to have equitable land ownership, enhance agricultural production, and provide employment to more agricultural workers. And thus results to rise in income of rural farmers, which will turn improve the living standard of rural people. That's all po, sir.
So your topic is about the is it part of the agrarian reform?
Sir, Presidential Decree number 27 po sa kay Marcos.
Okay. Please don't forget to send a copy of your PowerPoint in our GC. Okay. Thank you, Miagar.
Opo, sir.
Next is
Sige, sir.
Manel. Okay.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
My topic is about post-1986 Agrarian Reform.
What section, Maneze? You're from what section?
Best Cream 1B, sir.
Okay. Now proceed.
July 22, 1987, former President Corazon Aquino issued Presidential Proclamation 131 and Executive Order 229, which her land reform program. 1988, the Congress passed Republic Act number 6657 or the Comprehensive Agrarian Reform Law, which introduced the program with the same name, Comprehensive Agrarian Reform Program. CARP is enable the distribution of agricultural lands tenant farmers from landowners who were freed in exchange by government through just comprehensive compensation and allowed them to retain not more than 5 hectares. However, the corporate landowners allow under law to voluntarily divest and proportion on their capital stock, equity, or participation on favor of their workers or other qualified beneficiaries instead of turning over their land to the government. On post-1986 Agrarian Reform, under former President Corazon Aquino, she issued Presidential Proclamation 131 and Executive Order 229, which her land reform program makes the farming sector and increase the income of the farmers. 1988, in short, it provided landowner equality in terms of income and opportunities, empower landowner beneficiaries to have equitable land ownership, enhance agricultural production and productivity, provide employment to more agricultural workers, and put an end to conflict regarding land ownership. The CARP helped the farmers. CARP gives farmers who did not have capital and entrepreneurship, entrepreneurship, entrepreneurship fully developed land were simply taken from qualified owners. Yun lang, sir.
So your main topic is about
Post-agrarian kwan, sir.
post. So when you say post-agrarian reform, that means it's after, no? Post
Oo, sir.
means after. So, okay, I have one question, Manese. Ano yung nangyari? Ano yung pinakamalagang nangyari sa post-agrarian reform? Kung merong pre-agrarian reform, which is under the Spaniards, so sa tingin mo, ano yung tumatak talaga sa isipan mo na magandang nangyari or pagbabago sa post-agrarian reform? I guess that includes today, no? When you say post-agrarian reform, so ibig sabihin kasali ang kwan ngayon, ang milieu natin today, our time today. It's after. Sa tingin mo may nagbago ba or pareho pa rin? Parehas pa rin ba? So in
May
terms
nagbago,
of...
sir. Laki yung pagbabago, sir.
Kasi ano?
Yung yung mga lupa na kwan, sir, binigay ni Corazon Aquino, sir, na kwan, na na
Continue. At least a little bit na pagbabago, sa tingin mo na nagbago talaga. Anyway, thank you so much, Manese. I-send mo na lang yung sagot mo sa ating group chat, ha? Pakisend. At least okay naman yung report, but just give us at least kung ano yung pinaka nagbago talaga, ha? Just send us a GC. Okay, thank you so much, Manese. Thank you, sir. Next, Persus.
Good morning, sir. 1A, sir.
Oh, yes.
Today I'm going to discuss about doing life histories and biographical research. So according to the book, studying life history is always focused on history of nation and different collectives. While studying life histories, studying the life of individual is often incidental to the greater event that has been significant to the life of the larger unit that he or she happens to contribute to. Life history is often neglected subdiscipline of history because it is seen as trivial to larger narrative of nations, societies, and civilizations. So yung life history, sirs, it is the study of the person that has a greater contribution to the present, sir. Example of it, sir, is Rizal. He wrote or he is the author of No Limitang Hire and Il Filibusterismo that triggers the life it triggers yung kamalayan, sir, ng Pilipino, sir, na mag-alsa laban sa mga Espanyol or magkamit ng kalayaan. The brief example, sir, is Gandhi, sir. His philosophy of non-violence practice is from the Salt March, sir. It has a greater effect from yung pag-alsa ng India, sir, sa laban sa mga British. That would be all, sir.
Okay, so your topic is about writing biographical and what's that?
Yes, sir, life histories and biographical research.
Right. So yes, that's true. Now like the life of a people, life of a national hero. That's biographical approach to know them deeply and with their contribution in a certain country. Now, can you differentiate Persus uh, biographical from autobiographical research?
Biographical, sir, yung kung ano yung ginawa niya, sir, sa during his lifetime.
How about autobiographical?
Biographical, sir, is yung personal na pinanggalingan niya, sir, mawa, sir, yung sa kung ano yung pangalan niya, ilan silang magkakapatid, sino yung nanay at tatay niya. Yun, sir.
So you're saying that in biographical, may kasali ang nanay at tatay?
Kasali, sir.
So what's the difference?
Yung sa autobiographical.
Auto and biographical.
I think, sir, yung sa philosophy, sir.
Okay, thank you. Or in other words, autobiographical is for example, Rizal himself wrote his own history. In biographical, it is other people or the third person or maybe a certain researcher who wrote something about Rizal. That's it. But the same, no, the same. The content is the same. It talks or it discusses about the life, the history, the life of the author. But the difference is that auto, it is you. For example, you are Rizal. You are the one who wrote your own or who writes your own history or your life background. Whereas biographical is, for example, I am a writer and I'll be writing about you. So that's biographical. Okay, thank you, Pursuit.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Yes, Dasalia.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
My topic is all about 1973 constitutional authoritarianism. This is the last part of our topic po. So, after all the amendments introduced, the 1973 Constitution was merely a way for the President to keep executive powers, abolish the Senate, and by any means never acted as parliamentary system. Instead, functioned as an authoritarian presidential system, with all the real power concentrated in the hands of the President with the backing of the Constitution. The situation in the 1980s had been very turbulent. As Marcos amassed power, discontent has also been burgeoning. The tide turned swiftly when in August 1983, Benigno Aquino Jr., opposition leader and regarded as the most credible alternative to President Marcos, was assassinated while under military escort immediately after his return from exile in the United States. There was widespread suspicion that the orders to assassinate Aquino came from the top levels of the government and the military. This event caused the coming together of the nonviolent opposition against the Marcos authoritarian regime. Marcos was then forced to hold snap elections a year early and said elections were marred by widespread fraud. Marcos declared himself winner despite international condemnation and nationwide protests. A small group of military rebels attempted to stage a coup, but failed. However, this triggered that what came to be known as the EDSA People Power Revolution of 1986, as people from all walks of life spilled onto the streets under pressure from the United States of America, who used to support Marcos and his martial law. The Marcos family fled into exile. His opponent in snap elections, Benigno Aquino Jr.'s widow, Corazon Aquino, was installed as president on February 5. The 1973 Constitution was supposed to introduce a parliamentary style of government, which was vested in a unicameral National Assembly, with members being elected to 6 years term. The president would serve a 6-year term and could be re-elected to an unlimited number of terms. Executive power was relegated to the Prime Minister, who was also the head of the government and commander-in-chief of the armed forces. The Constitution was amended several times. In 1976, citizen assemblies once again decided to allow the continuation of martial law, as well as the approved amendments, President to also become the Prime Minister and to continue the exercise legislative powers until martial law was lifted. In 1981, the parliamentary system was formally modified to a French-style semi-presidential where executive power was restored to the president. The 1973 Constitution was composed of preamble and 17 articles, provides for the shift from presidential to parliamentary system of government. The Constitution vests the legislative power in the National Assembly. The 1973 Constitution was the first in Pakistan to be framed by elected representatives. The Constitution was held in abeyance until it was restored in 1985, but with an amendment shifting power from the Parliament and Prime Minister to the Minister to the President. Done, sir.
Are you done?
Apo.
Okay, thank you so much, Dasalia. Like you discussed about 1973. So, what significant event, or I mean, what is the contribution of this 1973 Constitution towards the total freedom? May mga kuan ba dito, special provision ba that tells or that triggers or that helps Filipino attain their total freedom? Because that's still under Spaniards, right?
Yes, sir.
Anong pinakamagandang provision dyan sa 1973 among the things you've discussed?
Provision.
Because 1973, that comprises by different provisions, right? And these provisions actually help Filipino like exercise their rights, attain freedom. So among this, ano yung pinaka talaga? Sa tingin mo, pinakamagandang provision or... Okay, you can send that answer, Dasalia, in our GC, okay? Anyways, thank you so much and job well done for, congrats for discussing it comprehensively. Thank you, Miss Dasalia. Send your answer in our group chat. Okay, Flaga, it's your turn. Dasalia.
The Constitution was amended several times in 1976. Citizen assemblies once again decided to allow the constitution of martial law, as well as the amendments and interim batasang pambansa to substitute for the interim National Assembly. Ang Constitution na ilang beses pang nabago noong 1973. In 1976, the martial law was still continued. Ay ang interim batasang pambansa of the legislature of the Republic of the Philippines from June 12, 1978 to June 5, 1994. It served as a transitional legislative body. The law was lifted and authorized the president to legislate on his own on an emergency basis, an overwhelming majority would ratify further amendments successfully. In 1981, the retirement age of members the judiciary was extended to 70 years. In 1980, the retirement of members of the judiciary was extended to 70 years. Noong 1981, ang parliamentary system ay binago at naging In 1981, the parliamentary system was formally modified to a French style. Saan ang president ay pwedeng ma-elect ng diretso at may ginawang executive committee composed of the prime minister at 14 na iba pang membro at sila ay kabinete ng presidente. Ngunit noong taong 1984, tinanggal ang executive committee at ang posisyon ng vice president ay ginawa. The situation in the 1980s had been very turbulent as Marcos amassed a power contented as also been bargaining. Tide turned swiftly when in August 1983, Benigno, junior opposition leader and regarded as the most popular president Marcos. Si Benigno galing United States. Isa siyang opposition leader at bilang sa possible alternative President Marcos. May mga sinasabi na ang pag-assassinate ay kay Aquino at utos na sa mataas na kalungkulan sa gobyerno. Dahil dito, nagsagawa maagang eleksyon si Marcos at diniklarang siya at panalo. Dahil dito, kumalat din ang sabi-sabi na fraud ang eleksyon na nangyari. Dahil sa pagkapanalo ni Marcos, nagsagawa ng selebrasyon ng mga rebel militar ngunit ito ay failed at dahil dito nangyari ang EDSA People Power Revolution noong 1986 dahil sa hindi kayanan na pressure ng Amerika na siyang sumusuporta kay Marcos ang kanyang pamilya ay lumayo at ang naulilang bahagi ay kanyang kalaban sa eleksyon na si Corazon Aquino at inihala na president noong February 25, 1986. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you so much. And your reporting was quite blurry. Hindi siya narinig. So, please send us the summary of your report. Yung pinaka-short lang na summary ha sa group chat natin kasi medyo di siya narinig. Like, ano yung pinaka-significant na nangyari or significant part or the most important part of your discussion. Okay? Anyway, one paragraph will do and also the copy of your topic, your PowerPoint, if you have pakisend sa ating GC for in BS Cream 1A. Okay, thank you so much, Flaga. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Now let's proceed to Ken Francis. Ken Francis, are you there?
Sir.
Dalgo. From what section?
BS Cream 1C, sir.
Okay.
Sir, my topic is the 1973 Constitutional Authoritarianism. The truth, the proclamation number 1081 on September 21, 1972. President Ferdinand Marcos placed in the entry country under the martial law. Martial law under Ferdinand Marcos at 7 p.m. September 23, 1972. It will be announced by President Ferdinand Marcos the whole of the Philippines under the martial law. It begins when the beginning of the 14-year period of the one-man rule that may last until Marcos was expelled from the country on February 24, 1986. martial law declared in the country because the violence of the corporation, description of the classes in the Manila class of student between the student of and officer of the law. Ang ano yan sir, ito ang mga dahilan kung bakit na nagdeklara ng martial law. Martial law ang dating Pangulo sir, Pangulong Ferdinand Marcos. Ginawa niya ito para sa kapakanan kapakanan at kaligtasan ng sambayang Pilipino. Tapos sir tapos pumasok yung batas ng militar sir. Tapos ang Pangulong Ferdinand Marcos ay kumikayat siya sa mga Pilipino na kumikayat siya sa mga Chino sir nga pumasok sa bansa na kumikayat ng mga Pilipino para sumapi at pinaglaban ang hadhikain. Tapos sir, ang question number 3 sir. The truth, the convention that proposed 1973 Constitution was approved on November 29, 1972. Napobrahan ng 1986 Commission noong October 12, 1986 at 1987 na Constitution Republic ng Pilipinas ay hinarap kay Pangulong Corazon C. Aquino noong October 15, 1986. Ang pinagtibay noong Pebrero 2, 1987 ng isang PL ito sa Pebrero 11, 1987. Tapos sir, sa Presidential Decree number 73, it was supposed to be ratified to reject the proposed Constitution on November 30, 1973 through plebiscite. Ito yung sir na sa section plebiscite ay pinukalang konstitusyon na 1971 Constitutional Convention ay dapat sinumite ng mga tao para pagpatibay sa isang lesibitong nagaganapin sa bansa. Alinsunod sa mga provision ng degree number na ito. Tapos sir, sapagkat ang 1971 Constitutional Convention ay nagpapatibay sa reflection number 5843 na namumungkahi kay Pangulong Ferdinand E. Marcos na magpalabas ng isang kautusan na pagpatawag na isang lisibito para sa pagpatibay ng mga ipinukalang bagong saligang batas. Sana ang napetsa na dapat yang tungkulin sir. Tapos sir, to sa Citizen Assembly sir, head from January 10 to 15, 1973. Inilabas ni Marcos ang batas pangpangulunghang Bill 86 na humihiling na kansilahin ang presibito at inatatag ang pagpupulong ng mga mamayang ng mga barangay upang patunayan ang mga bagong konstitusyon sa pamamagitan ng isang referendum mula 10 to 15 Enero 1973 hanggang Enero 30 na naglabas si Marcos ng proclamation number. Tapos sir, sa January 17, 1973, President Marcos issued a proclamation announced the Constitution had been ratified. Noong ika-17 ng Enero 1973, naglabas si Marcos ng isang proclamation Bill 1102 na nagpapatunay na nagpahayag siya ng konstitusyon ng 1973 ay napatunayan na sambayanang Pilipino at sa gayong at may bisa ang mga resulta ng hinamon sa ratification case na narinig sa Korte Suprema ng Pilipinas noong 1973 sir. Tapos sir, last na sir. In the constitutional is was supposed to. Tapos ang question na sir, introduce the parliamentary style government which was vested in the numerical National Assembly when member being selected to 6 years term. Ang sistema ng pangbatasang ng Pilipinas ay sumasailalim sa serye ng revolusyon na kawalan ng mga social political condition ng mga oras na antas pangpolitika kapanahunan ng lipunan nagsimula ito sa numerical Congress sa short life sa Pilipinas Republikang 1990 to 1999. So, tapos sir sir nag-isang nagpalitan sila ng sir. Sir, ayun lang sir.
Okay, thank you so much. Galgo. So your main
Yes, sir.
topic is about
the 1973 constitutional authorization.
Okay, so same question with Desalia. Send it in our group chat. What is the most significant provision under that 1973? Diba? There's
Yes,
a lot
sir.
of provisions under that. So just give us one significant or yung pinakamaganda talaga ng provision na nangyari
Yes,
or
sir.
implement during that in that 1973 and kindly send it in our group chat. Okay, thank you so much. Okay.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Let's proceed to two more reporters na lang din balik tayo mga 1 p.m. Yes. Okay, Reliezen.
Good morning, sir. My name is Romer J. De Reliesan from BS Cream 1A.
Okay.
My report is research in archive. Research in archive may be a lot more difficult and prove to be too advanced, but will provide you with many sources not available in usual libraries. Ibig sabihin, mas marami tayong makukuhang mga impormasyon sa archive documents or data kaysa sa library because yung mga libro sa library is secondary sources, yung sa archive is primary. And the National Archive of the Philippines also in Manila is the agency of the government mandated to collect, store, preserve, and make available records of the government and other primary sources pertaining to the history and development of the Philippines. Ibig sabihin ay sila agency of the government mandated. Mandated ibig sabihin sila ay may authority upang i-collect ang mga bagay-bagay na and other primary sources tungkol sa development ng ating bansa. Most of the materials here, especially for the years of Spanish colonialism, are in their original language and may not be accessible to college students. According to the Philippine history, sinakop tayo ng Espanyol 333 years. Tayo ay 333 years. Kaya marami silang mga naiwang bagay-bagay and other documents or data pertaining tungkol sa history ng ating bansa. Ang mga archive documents ay hindi basta-bastang ma-access ng mga karaniwang estudyante lamang dahil ito ay masyadong importante sa mga historian para magawa ang kanilang mga research tungkol sa ating nakaraan. Archives also exist to make their collection available to people but differ from libraries in both types of materials they hold and the way materials are accessed. For example, humiram tayo ng isang libro sa isang library at ito sa paulit-ulit natin na paghiram, ito ay naluluma, nasisira, nasisira, naluluma at nagigisi. Kung minsan, ang library lang ay papalitan lang nila ito bibili lang sila ng bagong copy at ilagay ito ulit at tanggalin ang luma. Ang sa archive naman ay kapag ma-access ito ng lahat, pwedeng masira ito dahil araw-araw nilang hinihiram, kinukuha at binabasa. Pero hindi na ito pwedeng palitan kasi ito yung primary source. Kumbaga, ito yung original. Yun lang, sir.
Okay, thank you so much. And your discussions about finding sources not through archives. Okay. And
Yes, sir.
anyway, that's true naman and well explained. Okay, no question for that. Okay, thank you, Reliezen.
Thank you, sir.
Well done. Next, we will proceed to Onoza Reliezen. Onoza, yes, it's your turn.
Good morning, sir. I'm Rina Onoza from Stream 1A. And my reporting is about taxation during the Commonwealth period. New measurement and legislation were introduced to make the taxation system appear more equitable during the Commonwealth period. Income tax rates were increased in 1936. Upon the entry of Commonwealth area or the Commonwealth period, the taxation in the Philippines became more firm and just. Moreover, other forms and taxes were increased, like the income tax rates, surf tax rates on net incomes, and other corporation taxes. Surf tax rate or individual net income in excess of 10,000 pesos. Income tax rates or corporation were also increased. In 1937, the cedula tax was abolished, which appealed to be progressive move, but in 1940, a residence tax was imposed on every citizen aged 18 years old and in every corporation. In 1930, in, in 1939, the Commonwealth government draft National Internal Revenue Code. So, noong 1939, ang Commonwealth government ay gumawa ng Internal Revenue Code, which is introducing major changes in the new tax system as follows. First is the normal tax of 3% and the surf tax on income was replaced by a single tax, a progressive rate. Personal exemption were reduced. Number 3, corporation income tax was slightly increased by introducing taxes on inherited states of gifts donated in the name of dead person. Number 4, the cumulative sales tax was replaced by a single turnover tax of 10% luxuries. Number 5, taxes on liquors, cigarettes, forestry products, and mining were increased. And number 6, dividends were made taxable. The introduced tax structure was an improvement on earlier system introduced by the Americans, but still remained inequitable. The lower class still felt the bulk of the burden of taxation, while the upper class, the landed elite, or the people in political position were able to maneuver the situation that would benefit them more. The agriculture sector was still taxed. Finally, a common character of taxation during the American occupation in the Philippines was not used to diversity the economy or direct economic development, as some sectors still carried the disproportionate share the tax burden. Thank you, sir. Yun lang po.
Okay, thank you so much. I have no question. Well explained. Thank you, Miss Onoza. Please don't forget to send your output, or I mean the copy of your report in our GC for reference. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you po. God bless.
Okay, Munar. Your turn, Munar.
Good morning, sir. So, the report is the continuation of report of Rolly Pagayon. My topic is taxation in Spanish Philippines. So first, what is taxation? It is the practice of a government collecting money from its citizens to pay for public services. It helps also government projects for economic development. So the taxation started during the colonization period before our ancestors paid tax for protection of the Datu and the leaders in our country. Except for Datu, except for Datu, everyone should pay taxes. If you cannot pay, you should face the punishment. So when the Spanish came, the modern taxation has been made. The 16 to 60 years old has the obligation to pay a tribute to King of Spain for the value of 8 reales or 1 peso per year. So what is the purpose of this? The purpose of this is this tribute is needed to raise funds for functioning to government machineries, finance, and generate resources to support government and church operations. And the government officials also should pay salaries. The other mean of payment of taxes can by giving gold, textile, and polo e-services. So what is polo e-services? This is called a forced labor that was characterized of Spanish colonial taxation in the Philippines and was required for the Filipinos. So taxation in the Philippines during the Spanish period was characterized by heavy burden imposed by the Filipinos. The corruption of the leaders is the reason why there is no improvement. On 1884, changed the tax policy and the Sidula has been created. So what is Sidula? Sidula is called community tax certificate. It is used to identify the taxpayers. So the difference between tribute and Sidula, tribute payment is per family, while Sidula is per person. In paying Sidula is progressive because the higher income, the higher taxes. But but in Spanish tax system, but in the Spanish tax system is burdensome for common Filipinos, especially to those poor, while it is advantage for wealthy individuals. So that is the taxation in Spanish Philippines, sir.
Okay, are you done?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I just want you to make try to discern or differentiate, pero isend mo lang ito sa GC natin ha. Ano ba
Yes, sir.
yung pagkakaiba ng taxation before and today? Okay? Di ba earlier you mentioned about the datu and the face punishment if they won't be able to pay some taxes. Now, at least short lang na discussion or difference, isend mo lang sa GC natin ha, in your GC. Ano yung pagkakaiba ng taxation before and today? And please also send the copy of your report. Okay, thank you
Yes,
muna.
sir.
Okay, so dalawang reporter na lang before we will end this live and we will resume at 1 p.m. Okay? Cheryl Princess Joy.
Good morning, sir.
Retardo, parang walang signal sino yun? Si Princess Joy. Okay, ikaw muna Retardo.
Okay, good morning, sir. Good morning to my fellow classmates. My name is Mary Ann Laborte Ritardo, Best Cream 1A from Group 9. Our group topic is about doing history. My test report is all about the advantages and disadvantages of doing historical research online. The advantages of doing historical research online is that you can do it from the comfort of your own home. It is inaccessible, can be done anytime you want. Pwede ka nang makapag-historical research online sa kahit saan or sa iyong bahay as long as may signal ka or Wi-Fi, and through apps like Google, Yahoo, and other websites. And pwede rin sa mga library, sa mga newspaper. And the disadvantages of doing historical research online is not everything that we can see on the internet is reliable. Some data are also incomplete. Mayroon ding sa internet na ma-search mo and pwede ding di reliable ang na-research mo. There are websites that you may use legally download scanned copies of books and other materials for free, especially those books with expired copyrights and are in public domain. Fragi Gutenberg's www.gutenberg's Original is the oldest digital library in the world. Founded in 1971, it has more than 50,000 items, such as the Doctrina Christina, the first published book in the Philippines. Yun lang po, sir. Thank you.
Okay, so your report is about
the concern advantages, and I doing historical research online, the advantages and disadvantages.
okay, so okay, very clear, no? Anyway, especially today, no, we are amidst COVID-19. I guess we are more on advantage kasi nga we cannot see each other and it's really hard for us to go to library. So kaya malaki yung tulong ng online sources. And speaking of online searching or online source, please be aware of that because you'll be using that in our final exam. Okay, thank you so much. Sino yun siya? Retardo. Next, Maravilla.
Hello sir, magandang umaga po.
No, finally,
my report
Maravilla.
my report is all about wait lang sir, napin ko lang.
From what section are you?
I am Anjo, sir. Marinig po.
Oh yes, I can hear you.
My topic, sir, is all about the post-1986 agrarian reform, which is...
Are you from what section?
BS Cream 1C po.
Okay, noted.
First, we identify what are the important, kung ano ba yung sir, yung dapat hindi kalimutan sa when it talks about agrarian reform. First is land reform. Ito yung nais lang ma-distribute ng mga saglit lang sir. First, we have two things that we must remembered when it talks about post-1986 agrarian reform, which is the land reform and agrarian reform. When it talks about land reform, ito yung sir, yung mga isang reforma kung saan nais ng magsasaka na makahingi ng kaunting lupa sa mga landlord na nais nilang may pamahagi sa kanila sir o kanilang mga sinakang lupa, which is nangyari yun noon sir yung panahon ni Marcos. Ngayon sir yung agrarian reform naman, ito yung reforma na kung saan nais ni Corazon Aquino na parang din sa sir land reform na mapamahagian o mabigyan ng lupa ang mga magsasaka, pero nais sa land reform ay agrarian reform, nais dito na magkaroon ng yung merong kita sir yung mga magsasaka, which is nakapabilang dito yung social legislation. Yung social legislation is about to promote the common goods, which is to protect and assisting the weaker members of society and give them job or works in order to them to get or have some source of needs, which is yung alam naman natin sir is the farmers was the most essential workers in our country. Then yung land ownership is part of issues in our agriculture. If the farmer has their own land or sa kanila mismo yung lupa, mas magiging mababa at giginhawa ang kanilang buhay, which is kung sa kanila ang lupa, they didn't oblige to pay the taxes or fees, or the farmer will no longer share with the landlord, which has a direct effect to the people, which also leads to decrease the prices of our commodity or yung ating mga bilihin. The more na kung sa yung direct effect sir is magkakaroon ng kita yung mga farmer na magiging dahilan upang mapababa yung mga presyo ng bilihin at magiging hindi mahihirapan yung mga taong mahihirap na bumili ng kanilang mga pangangailangan sir. Ganun lang po sir. Thank you sir.
Okay, so that's post, no? Para sa tingin mo, Marabilia, ano yung pinakamalaking pagbabago in terms of land reform today, post, no? The post, that pre.
Ano po sir?
Ano yung pinakamagandang nagbago sa land reform ng Pilipinas? Today,
ano sir?
Today, try to compare it today and yung mga panahon nung sinaunang panahon.
Ngayon sir is yung agrarian reform sir is parang nabigyan ng parang buo ang binigay na lupa or mga yun nga sir yung mga sinasaka nila sir, which is halimbawa ng yung papa ko kasi sir is farmer, then farm siya ay parang yan sir yung parang nagre-renta ganun, which is 5 years na siya sir. Tapos sir yung binigay sa kanya yung yung parang tenant siya sir ganun.
Okay. Yes, that's true. And to add on that, the significant change na meron tayo when it comes to our land reform is that we now own our own land, di ba? Except before it's under the control of the Spaniard. But don't you know that in Malaysia, because I went in last 2019 and I asked people there that their land is under the control of the government. And yes, we're blessed in the Philippines because yes, knowing that we are democratic, so hawak tayong lupa at kung anong itanim natin, it's up to us. But in Malaysia, don't you know that in Malaysia, yung nagtatanim or gumagamit ng lupain nila is ang government. Pero the benefit is that yung government na nagpapaaral sa kanilang mga anak. But still, parang they are deprived pa rin of what to plan or how do you spend it. So we are blessed, and that's a significant innovation na meron sa ating land reform, which is we have the freedom to, when it comes to the usage of our land, kung i-farming mo ba siya or commercialize it, business, it's up to us. Okay, thank you Marabilla for the comprehensive report. Thank you.
Apo sir, ang continuation ng report sir is send ko lang sir kasi si Bin Laden po mahina yung internet sa kanila sir.
Malakas na yung internet niya, okay. Last reporter for today is Tumara.
Good morning sir.
Yes.
Sir?
Tumara, next time don't wear sleeveless when you are reporting. Wear appropriate clothes. Di ba sinabi ko na yan?
Sorry po sir. May trabaho po ako sir.
Sige. Tumara, from what section? You are from?
Base cream 1B po sir.
1B, no? 1B. Okay.
Ano po sir?
Yes.
Topic today sir is doing local and oral history sir. I choose to discuss the story about the John Park tour at Acorong City. It's said to be the largest zoo park in southern Philippines. Ang ginagawa nila, sir, is nagkikiter at nag-use sila ng mga hayop. Usually endangered ones. If you are camel, makita din kayo dito ng tigers, mga ostriches, and donkeys. You will surely enjoy tour in this particular zoo park, especially the lion den, the crocodile parks. We are grateful and lucky to be able to witness and visit Chad's a historic place here and here around Tacorong City, Sultan Kudarat. But due to this recent pandemic happening these past few months, up till now, we only limited time to explore the said largest zoo park in southern Philippines. We interview on crew of the General Park Zoo and question came on thus recent pandemic effect. Tourist visit according to Kuya Guard. Siyempre sir, nabawasan din kasi ang mga nabawasan din kasi may mga COVID ngayon. So sa hindi pa nakakapunta sa General Park, this place I recommended for those who love animal. Yun lang po sir.
What's your topic, Tumara?
Sir, doing local and oral history.
Okay, so yung ginamit mong example is yung nangyari sa Genalyn ba yan?
General Park Zoo po, sir.
Okay. So ano yung para sa'yo, ano yung importanteng process or step sa paggawa ng local research, Tumara? Ano yung first na ginawa mo na sa tingin mo pinakamahalaga sa paggawa ng ganitong uri ng pananaliksik or research?
Example po, sir.
Oh, yes. Ano yung dapat mong gawin bilang isang researcher? Ano yung dapat mong gawin sa paggawa ng mga local research? Ano yung una mong ginawa na sa tingin mo malaking naitulong niya sa kagandahan ng iyong pananaliksik?
Sir.
O just i-send mo lang ang sagot mo sa group chat natin ha. Just send your answer in our group chat. Okay?
Sir, sorry po sir kasi nagtatrabaho po kasi ako sir.
O sige, okay lang. I-send mo sa group chat ang sagot mo. Kumbaga, ano yung pinakamalagang step or hakbang sa paggawa ng local research? Tulad ng ginawa mo, ano yung pinakamalagang step nito? Okay, ganun lang. Yung ginawa mo lang, based sa yung experience lang. Okay? Naintindihan mo, Tumara, ang tanong? Nagets
Yes, sir,
mo? Oh,
yes,
sige. Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. All right, so it's already 11:30. So for the upcoming or for more reporters, please get ready. We will resume at 1. Babalik tayo 1 p.m. Please i-ready ang inyong signal. And also right after our report, I'll be giving you our final exam. Anyway, ang final exam natin is bring home lang because I'll be asking you to do something. Okay? Thank you so much. Okay? See you this afternoon, 1 p.m. Bye-bye, everybody. Please inform others.